It's being a lot less aggravating than the other side was.
You're frightened, aren't you?
I am. I'll get it together and I won't have any brakes. As I got done last night, as you saw, I put all this together, and I'll go through kind of what I know that you saw me doing a lot of prying and trying to twist this. Well, in theory, this should assemble by you put this fork on this side, put the shaft through with the washer, then put this fork on this side with the washer and the nut, tighten it down, and it'll pull this together, and you put those nuts through. Well, in practice, you cannot do that without fighting with it because nothing will line up. You have to try to get this over so you can get this on, even to start with. So, yeah.
Yep.
Biggest things you want to watch, I scuffed the sticker, but I didn't hurt the cylinder, is make sure if you try to avoid prying on the springs, and if you have to put anything there, be very careful not to damage the cylinders, because that has to stay sealed or you've just killed your strut.
Yeah, we did notice that yesterday that it wasn't straight when you put on. The part there that matches up to the shock wasn't straight. It was canted at a 45-degree angle almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the spring isn't fully tensioned apparently when these come in, so you're actually tensioning the spring some when you're tightening this down, which, well, gives a more stiff spring, which is probably what the vehicle needs, but it makes it aggravating to put it on.
It sounds about as much fun as you described.
Yeah, it is. Now, I've got one bolt left on this assembly, the one up here for the sway bar, that I didn't tighten down, and luckily I remembered I didn't tighten down, which the replacement was a 17.
That would have been fun to find out going 60 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
On another random off-roading adventure. That's what I'm calling it. You had a random off-roading adventure.
And like I said, all these boots are destroyed, but the joints are still good. They still move good. And getting replacements and replacing them in general is going to be a trial. So I can live with the steering wheel being off center because the alignment's good and the joints are good, so there's no play. They will have to be replaced at some point, but not right now.
That may be a future video, we'll see.
There we go. Now all this is done.
Alrighty-o.
So that's it for the shock. Now let's go to the brake. It's a good thing that metal's not important.
You beat the crap out of that dust shield.
No, yeah, not just that, but it's kind of rusted out there.
True.
Rusted out dust shield. We are in the land of salt.
Yes.
So one of this thing's not that more rusted out.
We're in the land of salt, snow, bad weather. All that fun.
And remember how the last one came with its own bolt for the orifice connection? This one comes with a washer, no bolt. So, this is why you want to make sure you don't need the part before you turn the core in. Because that didn't have the bolt that goes to that.
How nice of them.
Yeah.
Well, it was rebuilt in Mexico.
Yeah.
Or pardon me. Nope. USA. I take that back.
Yeah, the
Kind of depresses
one
me
for
a
the
little
passenger side was a new one. This one's a rebuilt one because it's what's available.
bit. Yeah. Isn't the one for the passenger side made in China?
I think it was.
That kind of depresses me a little bit. The one made in China came with all the parts and the one in the US didn't.
Well, that's wonderful to start with.
What's that?
They've heavily grease the adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
but the boots aren't properly placed.
Oh, boy.
And not that big a deal, but that's just, yeah.
Are we sure we didn't get the boxes backwards and this is the Chinese one?
No. Now I got grease all over my gloves, though. I need a paper towel.
Alrighty. That's what I've been reduced to. Cameraman and gopher. There.
Still learning both.
I know how to fetch things. I'm a professional fetcher, thank you. Just for that, you got paper towels in your driver's seat.
I got grease on everything, too. they use plenty of grease.
That's good. I'll give them that. That is good. At least you know it ain't going to seize up anytime soon. Hopefully.
Yeah.
God willing.
I gotta try to get the clips on. They've got little tags in them, so it's just a matter of lining up which one goes where. So these little tabs lock in.
So the tabs have writing in them, you said?
No, they have numbers, but no, it's just they're directional. That little,
Okay.
this part goes under the little tab down here on the bottom, and this little tab here locks in on the outsides, so you can tell which one goes where by which way it's lined up.
Ah.
But
I'm sure you mentioned that in a previous video, and I'm just not remembering it.
well, the previous video I was trying to figure out how this one works because I've not seen this tab set up before. Now that I know how that tab setup works, it's actually quite easy. The first time I was having to figure out how does these go on because I haven't had ones with these little corner lock tabs like that before. Scrubber goes on the inside, normally.
And that's what makes the
Makes the brake squeal when the pad starts getting low.
finagles and pops right in.
Yep, at least it should. This one's not being as aggravating as the other side was. This one's being a lot less aggravating than the other side was.
You're frightened, aren't you?
I am. I'll get it together and I won't have any brakes. This thing has some heavy rotors, I'll tell you that.
Believe me, I know. At least you know it's got thick steel on it. Or aluminum, or plastic,
There's
or
still.
rubber, or whatever it is. Or tile.
And you gotta line up the lock screws holes with the, there we go.
Technically, do you have to put the lock screws back in?
Not necessarily.
I did not mean to put you in a quandary.
No, I just realized I kind of want anti-seize for that stuff.
Oh. You got blue Loctite.
Yeah. It's Loctite. It generally does a pretty good job of keeping it from seizing up as well.
We won't mention the fact that previously he did both blue Loctite and anti-seize.
Yeah.
Or mention the fact that now he's being lazy and is not using the anti-seize.
I don't have any.
Oh.
I remember to buy more Loctite. I didn't remember to buy more anti-seize. And I can't find, because I have a great big thing of it that I cannot find.
Is it next to your 5,000 copper washers?
Probably.
You have 4 vehicles in total.
No,
I'm thinking.
that depends. I've got 5 vehicles in total if you count the 2 Jeeps that don't run.
So 2 Jeeps that don't run. 1 Ford F-150.
Which, by some amazing miracle, does run.
1 Buick Regal.
Yeah. I just had the transmission rebuilt.
Technically, you got 2 trucks.
Yep. That Jeep truck, which I still don't know. It managed to. I still working out. If anyone out there knows the physics behind this, how does an engine backfiring blow up a fuel tank? It actually blew out the seam on the fuel tank when it backfired so violently.
Yeah.
And I'm still working out that one. Did not set the fuel tank on fire, but it blew out the bottom of it.
So we are, yeah, that was a crazy thing. So we are and will be actually not getting that one back on the road, I will say. That's a proper way to say it. Getting it back on the road. So, and you'll see the things we do and some of the things we will send off and all that stuff later on. One of the things we'll do is unearth it from the crust that has grown up around it.
And the rotor's on. I am trying to get this copper washer off here because I end up having to use it on the other side.
Yeah.
Because the washer they give you are huge. There. Already broke in the new one.
With some rusty, corroded brake fluid. That
brake fluid glunk.
Yeah. From the blown out brake.
That one was the working one.
Oh, good Lord. And it had that crap in it?
Mm-hmm.
That ain't
I
good.
think that's why that one was still working. The other one exploded. This one just kind of, it was a brake?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark?
How long did you drive it that way?
Not very long. Once it threw the brake, I was done. I drove it all about 30 miles with only 3 brakes working. And that was just enough to get to the site I was heading to and home. Remember, prep stuff.
Yes.
Oh. I will make a note, as you get older, concrete gets harder.
Yes.
It's one of those amazing facts in life.
As you get older, concrete gets harder. Alcohol hurts. When you drink too much as a kid, I say kid like as a 21, 22-year-old. Don't drink when you're a kid. But as a 21, 22-year-old, by noon the next day, you're relatively okay. The older you get, the further that time goes out. 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, until eventually it's like 18 years down the line. It's going to take you 18 years eventually to recover from a night of drinking.
Results may vary.
Okay, so I exaggerated a little bit.
Results may vary.
So I exaggerated a tiny bit.
It also depends on the individual.
True. Individual's constitution and diet and blah, 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 if you want to get scientific about it. How much you hydrate, because a lot of the effects of hangovers is from dehydration. The important stuff you learn on Crazy Karl projects, how to avoid hangovers.
Remember, stay hydrated and be nice to your liver and kidneys.
Yes.
Because you only get one set. And even if you go the argument on transplant, you deal with a lot of stuff, Dylan, when you do have a transplant. Yes, I countered that argument before it came up.
Didn't even let me say anything.
Nope, I'm not.
So again, if you would like to be a host of your own...
19, 14, and 12, and 24 were the sizes. Until you get replacement parts, then you get a bunch of 17. Because the ones that had 14 heads apparently were supposed to be 17. Because all the replacements are 17 somehow.
I don't ask questions.
Now it's just a matter of lining up holes.
Dig a hole, dig a hole.
Channeling your inner Ed.
Well, you did yesterday.
And yes, I used way more thread lock than I needed to, but I mean, it is anti-seize too, so it seizes the nice way.
Yes. That's our story and we're sticking to it. Well, his anyway. I lay no claim to it.
And you know, lock washers are really effective when you can hand tighten them down. This is why thread lock.
Yes. Remember, use blue, not red, if you want to remove it again.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently if you're working on an Italian car, then you're never supposed to have to remove anything because it just dies.
Yeah. Well, if you're working on an Italian car, come to America. We like to work on our cars. Use blue, not red. If you don't believe me, look at the number of Murcielago repair videos that's on YouTube right now.
There we go. Then I get to bleed everything.
Yes. Then you get to do the back brakes.
Well, maybe not. I don't know yet. Because I don't know if they've actually got air in them or not. The cylinder for the back brakes have never emptied. It's always had fluid in it. It's possible that how this thing's boost is set up, if you have air in one set of the brakes, you have air in all of the brakes because the booster doesn't activate properly. So I'm hoping bleeding the front, if everything works then it's good. If it doesn't, then I'll have to bleed the back too. But like most vehicles, this does have a split reservoir. It's got two compartments, and you keep some fluid constantly in either rear or front, just in case you have a blowout, if you have a line blow or something happen. So that way you have some brakes. And I think it's possible that the backs are acting up because they haven't been able to adjust. So, also made in China.
The rotor?
Mm-hmm.
Not surprised. Stamped steel stuff, I don't think China does too bad of a job on. It's kind of hard to do a bad job on that.
These lines are still in. The rubber lines, the flex part of the lines are in good shape. The rest of them are ugly, but they're solid, so.
As long as it's not cracked.
Oh, and one thing that was missed yesterday is I put the vacuum feed for the four-wheel drive back into its little mounting bracket.
Okay.
That little rubber boot goes back on there. And they have another one here, which is for who knows what. They have one in front too.
Okay, so you want to put it in the front, I guess.
Yep, something. I'm sure at some point they may even run the brake lines through here at one point. Or designed it to be run through here at some point, but they didn't do that.
Maybe it's using on multiple vehicles.
It's also possible. I wouldn't be surprised. They may have used the same one on their cars at this time period.
Yeah.
Because they only made 2 vehicles.
True. Well, they only gave us 2 vehicles.
Well, for import, I should say.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm reusing the old copper washers because the washers, I got new ones. They gave me A, aren't copper. And B, they didn't line stuff up last time I tried to use them. So I'm not going to try to use them again.
My best guess is they just grabbed some copper washers.
They're not even copper washers.
Just grabbed some washers and threw it in a bag and said, it'll do.
I went through the whole trying to use the new washers and bolt on the other side, and that didn't work. So
yep.
I'm not even going to try it on this side.
Yeah, in the last video I noticed that as I sat there in my chair, I got a lot of shots of your back.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid that.
I'm going to use a little bit of the blue Loctite. So I know it's on this side.
I really hope I'm filming.
Orifice, yep.
What you're doing.
And
not like the back of your hand.
And on that side, that way I've got the orifices marked so I do not block them on how I tighten. Wipe that off my hands. Don't tell me you're not going to match threads. Oh, fun times. I think the threads don't match.
Sledgehammer?
I hope not.
Yeah, that might damage something.
Alright, they kind of match. This has rough threads in it. But it's going in. And I get started, it's just hard. Now I gotta hope I didn't wash my orifice marks off. And of course, I have no marks left. I have seen ones of these that have little marks on the bolts showing you where it is. Those are nice. Manufacturers, please put a little indicator on where the orifice is on these bolts. It's most beneficial.
Yeah, I watched I think it was USA Today or Good Morning America, one of those stupid morning shows. When they're talking about working on your cars and how to work on your cars these days, it's like, yeah, you just check your air pressure, and then if it's wrong, you take it to the dealer. You just check your oil level, and then if it's wrong, you take it to the dealer. You check your brake fluid. If it's wrong, you take it to the dealer. You check your air filter. If it's wrong, you take it to the dealer.
I'll put some fluid in the reservoir and get you to pump the brakes so I can see. Now I'll top this off and let's see if this actually went well. Funnels are recommended.
Free pour at max line.
Yeah, I'm going to overfill it because I know it's going to use a bunch.
Because we are getting air out of the lines.
First we're just trying to see if it can take a load and if it blows air out of the new seal I've made. Alright, I guess I'll use my camera.
You ready?
Yep.
Holding. Want me to pump up?
Yeah, pump up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Because I heard a bunch of hissing, but I think it was just air moving through. Nope, it leaks. It leaks. Alright. Yep. That's what I need to know. Okay. So now we go back to adjusting it. On the plus side, it is bled.
That's good.
At least partially. Now let's see if I can actually tighten it and still get something lined up.
He's got that body contortioning, twisting, lining up going on.
Let's see what I've got in the way of the copper washers. I may have to put I think I had a spare one left from the other side.
Well,
I found the one from the other one.
Hold it up.
And I have an old washer and a new washer. It does have a copper washer. I'm going to try using the new washer and see if it gives enough spacing. That still looks absolutely nothing like the ones on it.
Yeah.
But that might give me enough room that I can get that lined up right. See, now I got to take it off again. It means there's going to be fluid dripping everywhere.
Yep.
Get the pan under it. I'm going to do this as quick as I can. I'm going to get this copper washer off. Get this copper washer on. Start putting it back together. At least the threads are a lot nicer now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, all stupid things. Can I see where the thread marks were? Nothing like brake fluid running down your arm. Alright. Well, I got it remarked, resaved, and now we're going to try this again. I need these. Dry this off so I can actually see if there is fluid leaking.
Turn the bolt, turn the bolt. The body contortion going on.
There we go. It's either lined up or I bent the wrench, one or the other.
We'll find out.
Let me dry it off. I squeezed a bunch of fluid out of it.
It's my job.
And I'll need to top the reservoir off.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Looks like it's kind of a.
Is it still full?
Yeah.
All right, then try it.
It has some level in there, but it's still way over the max line.
All right, then it's good.
All right. Here we go. There's Fred and George, everybody, if you remember them. Pump, pump, pump. Pump the brakes, pump the brakes.
Okay, hold.
Holding. Still feels really spongy.
And it's braking. Good deal. All right.
All right. Releasing.
And what's funny is this side's probably bled.
We could not hear you.
I said this side is probably bled now, so I will still bleed it.
I would hope so.
But it shouldn't take a whole lot to bleed it.
No, I mean, y'all remember how to.
Released.
Yeah, we have done bleeding brakes before. Not difficult.
And oh no.
I'm sure the EPA does not approve of our disposal methods.
Well, actually, they do, because the landfill this goes to is rated for this stuff.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
There you go.
I've already checked in on that. I made sure it went to a place it's actually registered to go to. So, the landfill here is actually a hazardous waste rated landfill.
I smell skunk again.
Yeah, it happens. As long as we don't meet said skunk, we're good.
Yeah, I'm not looking for skunk.
All right. And now is to get the stuff to do the bleeding.
There we go. Alrighty-o.
All right.
And so far on this one, we've got 2 shocks replaced.
Both front shocks, both front brakes and rotors. Projects left in the front is the hubs. I've got locking hubs. I finally managed to track down some screws. Took 3 months, 2 months, but they finally showed up. Apparently they came by cargo crate.
Apparently they came by camel.
Yeah, but it took them a little more than 2 months to show up.
Yeah.
So they finally showed up. Hopefully they'll work. The company that made the hubs gave me a refund for what they thought the cost of the bolts would be, because they didn't have any in stock either. So they don't know what happened, but I was fine with that. I can try to make it work. I know I've got 2 to securely lock on each side, and then the others I should be able to do tight enough to secure it.
Yes.
So, all right. I guess that's
Okay.
it for a little bit. We'll be back.
Alrighty, we'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. If you didn't, share it with the enemies. After all, why should you suffer alone? Thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you in the next one.